All right, I'm down here at AFA Boxing and Child's Play MMA with Fidel Martinez Sr. We're at Tim Ibarra's Media Day workout. Got a lot of people out there, a lot of fans, a lot of friends, a lot of family, a lot of fighters. Got a live band. Everything seems to be going great. I guess I want to start this with asking how Tim is doing this camp. You know, it's been a full camp going into what is such a life-changing opportunity of a fight, you know, on the world stage, taking on Michael Conlan March 17th at Madison Square Gardens Theater in New York City.
You know what? Tim has been putting in all the work that has been necessary for this fight. He's done all the extra. He's sacrifices he made personally, you know, for everything that you need to do for a fight. He's doing it. Like he's been in here 2-3 times a day at times. You know, mountain runs, like we said. He's in here working his butt off with Manuel Perez and Fidel Jr. You know, so them guys, Chewy Alvarado, we're pushing him. You know, he's 100% ready for this fight, and we're still not even here for fight weekend, and he is ready.
Yeah, you mentioned that you got a couple weeks out. How do you prepare? You know, knowing that you got to travel cross country. What are some of the differences you have to, you know, approach going into traveling, time zones, couple hours, etc., as far as fatigue and adjusting? What's the plans for that?
You know, I got luckily that I've had to travel to New York a few times to fight with other fighters, so I kind of already know what to, you know, expect for, you know, the time change. You know, the time change is probably the best part, the biggest part. You know, they're 2 hours ahead of us, so it's totally different. You know what I mean? It's 9 o'clock there, it's 11, or it's 11 o'clock there, it's 9 o'clock here at our time. So, you know, it's totally different. So it's a little bit time change. The food's a little bit different, time to eat. You know what I mean? You got to make sure you're eating at good times. You're not eating too late because, you know, it's totally time change. But, you know, I don't think it's going to affect him in no way. He's so primed and ready for this. I don't necessarily see anything to be in Tim's way, but anybody, nothing. You know, he's totally ready for anything that's coming at him right now. He's in the best shape of his life. He's ready to go. You know, the family, the support, everybody that's behind him it's 100%, totally 100%.
Right on. What are some differences you see in Tim when he is able to have such a full camp like this one? I know that hasn't always been the case, and I think that's a pretty important aspect to this fight. I remember back in January when the fight was announced, that was one of the first things that Tim said to me was, they messed up by giving me a full camp like this.
Yeah, no, you know how we are in Colorado. We get those 2-week calls, we get those 3-week calls. Be ready to fight, but you also know my fighters. We're ready. We're always in the gym. We're always training. So if those 2-week calls come, we're ready. But to give us a full camp, Tim's going to be the best Tim Ibarra that's going to be ever fighting in any fight. Him right now, mentally focused, that he is totally ready for anything that's coming.
Where do you see Tim's advantages in this matchup without giving up too much? You know, and do you think the pro experience will help him to have an advantage against the debuting Olympian? Or do you think they're that kind of, you talk about a lot, you know, with a lot of your fighters, sometimes it seems like you don't necessarily look at the number of fights because it doesn't fully take in amateur, etc. But do you think in this case it will have or make a difference?
You know, I've watched a little film on him, of course. You know, we got to look at him a little bit, you know, but honestly, Tim's experience as a pro, you know, he's been around. He's fought in California. He's fought at home in Denver. We fought in Philly. So he knows what it needs to be done out there. So this guy's coming out, hey, from the amateurs, you know, hey, it's going to be a big deal to be fighting at Madison Square Garden. He's never really had a big, you know, fan base and walkout business and all this stuff that you get in boxing when you're a pro, because in amateurs you don't get that. You know what I mean? So he really, you know, he's testing the waters for the first time. So Tim's advantage is going to be his experience. Tim's been in there and he knows what it is. You know, this guy's got to get hit by 8-ounce gloves as well. Never been hit with 8-ounce gloves on before. You know, there's a big difference. You know, in amateur boxing, a lot of his fights probably he wore headgear. You know, maybe in this last year or so that they didn't wear headgear, but still, you know, that's a big change in this fight right now. You know, so the experience factor for Tim is going to be big because he's been there, he can take the punch, and we know what it takes. You know, he's experienced it, and then Conlan, he's experienced this for the first time. It's totally different than what an amateur game is.
Seems like then you feel like a lot of the pressure is jumping into Conlan's corner, and you
Yes.
guys can go in there pretty loose. Rumors of, you talked about not ever really doing the pro walkout, and you go from not ever doing the pro walkout. Yeah, he was on the Olympic stage, but you go from no pro walkouts to rumored Conor McGregor walking behind you. You got the pressure of the country.
Exactly. I think that's going to be a big thing. The pressure that he's got to take care of. All the people that's going to be at this fight in New York, what do you say, 80% of them going to be Irish at this fight. You know what I mean? So there's going to be a lot of Irish people there. He's got that. He's got his whole country. He lost in the Olympics. So, he's going to be looking to know that stress of having that loss and knowing the stress of the country that's looking for him to keep it winning going, Again, Conor McGregor bringing him out. A lot of adrenaline, a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out this guy before he even steps into
the big promotion, taking a chance
exactly. Right away.
Right
away. I'm not saying maybe he's not worth it or he is worth it, but that's a big jump for somebody coming straight out of the Olympics. Be it at a main event, Madison Square Garden, on a top-ranked show. So, the experience factor is going to be big. We're going to see how he can handle it, let's put it that way.
All right. And last, kind of, ultimately, what does a win on a stage like this mean for Tim Ibarra's career and for Colorado boxing in general? Not just a family affair boxing, but Colorado, the state in general, all of them, even the camps that maybe you are rivaled with or whatever, if those things even exist to you. But what does that do for Colorado in general as well?
First, for Tim, sky's the limit after that. We put on a great show in Philly in December when we were there. It's probably the main reason why we got this call. We put on a good show again. We win this fight, sky's the limit. Phone's going to be ringing off the hooks. We put on a great show and we lose. Guess what? The phones are still going to be ringing off the hooks because when you put on a good show, people love to see good fights. And that's one thing Tim is. He's a fighter. He's going to put on the show. Regardless of what happens, he's going to put on the show. So, and in that sense, it's going to be fun to see what's going to happen in this fight, honestly.
All right. Last, you want to speak on your sponsors? Clothing,
yeah,
nice product placement going.
Yeah, nice, perfect. Up and down, they're great guys. We got Colorado Fresh Gear is one of our great sponsors. Tubuli, 5-Star Management, and that crazy lady that's sitting back over here named Amanda. She's great sometimes too. But we got a lot of people that help us out here. Big shout out to Coach Steve Messis, matchmaking man of the all boxing. So shout out to my boy Evan here, even though he's a Duke fan. But Tar Heels, but.
You'll get your chance next week, bro.
All
right, man. Well, you heard it all here. Tim Ibarra's Media Day. It's got a lot of support out there. I guess it's time to eat and enjoy some live music. Everybody check out March 17th, Ibarra versus Conlan, Madison Square Garden Theater, New York City. It's Evan Herzog signing out with Fidel Martinez Sr. Later.